This is Domino Mara, and today I have a very special guest with us. I feel like I've been saying that a lot recently, but that's because I have such good collabs coming out today. But before we get into who and what we're collabing with today, go ahead and click that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you know when I have new content out. I post every Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, or I live stream. Don't forget to follow my social media at Mara Domina on Twitter and Instagram. I also have 3 membership tiers here on YouTube, so go check those out after this video. I also have a newsletter that goes out every month to tell you what my travels are and what my latest collabs are in a recap. All right, so today we are going to be showcasing Femboy Republic, and I'm super excited because we have a guest that's going to model for us today.
Hello! How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
So nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Are we going to be modeling today?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yay. All right, let's go in.
Welcome.
I love this space, super artsy.
Thank you. I just woke up, I'm like still in pajamas.
That's okay. I think it's super cute. And you guys can't see it right now. He's got a really cute thong underneath. All right,
But yeah.
shall we?
Yeah, let's go.
We're gonna do a little get ready with me. This is Foxy Alex. And if you want, actually tell us a little bit about yourself while you do your morning routine.
Hi guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna get ready for the photo shoot. I have really thick, I'm Latin, so my facial hair is really thick. It's good because I have really good brows and lashes, but shaving is just so annoying. So yeah, I just like to have a clean, smooth shave every day.
I have 2 questions for you based on that intro. A, what kind of Latino are you? And then B, you mentioned about beauty guru to me.
Yeah,
kind of explain a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so my background, before I started in this industry, I used to be a full-time makeup artist back when I lived in Panama. I'm from Panama, but I have a really interesting and complex family tree like most Latin people do. My dad's side of the family, they're Spanish and Indian, and my mom's side of the family is European and native Panamanian. So yeah, I was born in the US, but I grew up most of my life in Panama. So yeah, I'm definitely very proud of my heritage, and I just love growing up in a multicultural family. For me was really nice because you get to appreciate different parts of the world. Just I love Indian food because of my dad's side of the family. I also love French food because of my mom's side. Spanish food. I grew up eating a lot of different cultures and religions as well. I had a cultural appreciation. For me, it was really good growing up with so much diversity, and I feel a lot of people in Panama can relate to that because we're just such a huge melting pot, you know?
No, I totally relate to that because my parents are from different countries as well. My mom's side is from the Philippines, so we have the Spanish side from there too. And then my dad is actually born in Brazil, so...
I love Brazil. I've always wanted to visit the Philippines as well. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the beaches are great. But yeah, so same thing. It's I grew up with a bunch of different languages as well, and then I actually lived in South America for 4 years because of my dad too. So that was really honor and privilege.
That's amazing. Do you speak Spanish?
A little bit.
I love that. I love that. I learned English first and then Spanish, but I still have an accent because I grew up in Panama. But I love my accent. I think it's so cute. I'm in the process of learning French at the moment because my brother, he's only 10 years old and he already speaks 3 languages. English, Spanish, and French. And I'm I need to keep up with this. My younger siblings, there's no way. I'm the first one, and then the other one, he speaks English, Spanish, and Punjabi. That's insane. I feel I need to keep up with them.
I'm the same. That's how I feel too. My parents both speak between 4 and 5 languages each.
That's amazing.
And I'm just I have 1.5. Okay, so our sponsor for today's video is Femboy Republic. And I wanted to kind of give the definition of what a femboy is. Actually, I want to ask you what your definition is.
Well, in my world, every day is Femboy Friday.
Hashtag Femboy Friday.
I just think it's really important for people to know that there's so many ways to be yourself. You don't have to fit into a label or fit into a box. Like, you can still be a guy and just be feminine. Like, I wear my long nails. I've been wearing nails like non-stop for 3 years. Like, I haven't had a single day since like 3 years ago that I haven't been wearing like my acrylics. My makeup artist in Panama, she's a really good friend of mine, and she's just amazing. Her name's Katiuska, and I just love makeup, love beauty, and I think beauty is obtainable and it's also subject to your own idea of beauty, and just creating your own version of what you think is beautiful. I think that's the whole point of life.
I love that.
So basically, like a guy that loves being feminine and being glamorous. I just extended it too much.
No, that's okay. But also, it's inclusive to both cis males and also trans people.
Yeah, no matter what's your identity, if you identify as a boy and you want to be feminine, you can.
Actually, that leads me to my next question, and I know it's kind of like a ramp up, but what is your sexual orientation, if I may ask?
Well, I'm pansexual. I've had kind of like a journey, just like everybody, I guess, that like, you know, figuring out what you personally like. Before I moved to LA, like a year ago, my whole experience, like when I used to live in Panama, I had only been like attracted to like women or like feminine people until I like moved here. Back in Panama, I had never like experienced so much diversity. I feel like a lot of people, when they live in like a smaller city and you move to a bigger city, you meet like, you know, beautiful trans women, beautiful trans men, beautiful, everything under the rainbow, you know? And I had never been like exposed to that until I moved to this city. For me, it's more of like a chemistry thing. If I have like chemistry with someone, I don't care what's their gender or how they present, but I definitely have like an inclination towards more like feminine people. Whatever they identify with, I don't care. But I think that's like my personal taste, if you ask me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a couple more questions for you as you get ready. How long have you been doing makeup for? And do you do content creation based off of that? Like, are you an influencer in that realm?
Yeah. So I started wearing makeup since I was like 14, 15 years old. Back home in Panama, quinceañera parties are like a huge thing. So like all my friends were throwing like these like crazy parties. And I was like, oh my God. I noticed all my friends, they will like really like dress up. Like that's a big part of like Panamanian culture. We dress up everywhere. Even to go to the mall, people like wear like a full face of makeup. You know, that's just our culture. It's just different. I would always like look at my friends and they will always wear like beautiful like glitter eyeshadow or like brows. So then one night I shaved off like too much of my brow because I tried to do it with like the razor.
Yeah.
And then it was like uneven and I was like having a breakdown, and it was like a really important quinceañera party. So my friend told me, don't worry, I'll like do your brows.
To draw it in.
So you don't like embarrass yourself. Yeah. And then that night I had my first kiss with who later became my girlfriend. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna wear makeup every time, because like she kind of noticed that I was like wearing makeup and she like liked that. So now I have to do it every time. I felt comfortable playing with makeup since I was like very young. So I just kind of started doing it, doing my friends, my mom's, my grandma's makeup. Started like my sister's makeup for her quinceañera party.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so for me, that's kind of how it all started. Then I started like making content and videos, and I started working with like Urban Decay, MAC Cosmetics. When they brought Urban Decay to Panama for the first time, I was like one of the ambassadors for the brand.
Oh,
like,
I love Urban Decay.
I love it too. Yeah. They're amazing. So like I just kind of kept doing like beauty content. I wasn't aware that it was so weird for a guy to wear makeup in Latin America, because I grew up watching like all these beauty gurus.
And also you were lucky to have people who accepted you.
Yeah, I was really lucky. My mom's amazing. In Panama Pride, she was one of the spokespersons.
Oh,
yeah, and she like stood up like in the stage, and she was like holding my hand, and she was like empowering women to like, you know, because Panama is still very conservative. My dad also, he's been very supportive. He was with me in a campaign for Durex condoms. It was like an international campaign in all Central America, and it was a Father's Day special. So we were just talking about our relationship and how he has always, you know,
I love that.
Supported me. Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's a great message for Pride too.
Yeah.
So the next question that I have for you is more based off of like dressing up, and that's kind of going to lead into identity. What is your take on dressing up? Why do you love doing it? Did you also start doing dress up when you were 14, when you found makeup?
So I've always liked playing with fashion. I identify as a guy, and I think like everything that I wear is just like a costume, you know, like dressing up is like for fun, because at the end of the day, we're in 2024. There's been so many things that have been done, so many different backgrounds, fashion trends, and I just like playing with fashion, whatever like feels fits my aesthetic, I'll try it, and I don't care if it's like a guy's piece of clothing or a girl's. When I started wearing like feminine pieces was originally because I wanted to wear flashy, like strambotic or like more disruptive piece of clothing, but I didn't have any money. So I started wearing my grandma's button-ups that she has some like interesting from like vintage button-ups, and I started wearing like my grandma's clothes and my mom's clothes, and it was just like button-ups that were like really funky, and I just loved it. I was obsessed with it. I was like, oh my god, and people wouldn't even question if I wore them like without makeup. People wouldn't even question like, oh, like he's wearing women's clothes. Like, no, it's just a button-up, like it's just a funky button. He's just funky.
Yeah, sure.
So like I just kind of kept doing that, and I just like everybody was complimenting no matter where I went. In the grocery store, in the streets, even like in Panama we have like guys that like sell stuff like in the red lights in the intersections.
Sure.
Yeah, there's people that like selling anything that you want, like sunglasses, bubble gum. Like there's like a joke that says like he has everything because he carries like this like piece of cardboard and he has everything. And he's just like selling it, and that's how like they win their life out of like $1, and they make that's how they make a living. So even the guys will be like, oh, you look so good. You want some like sunglasses for free? They would like
give me
things. And I was like, this is crazy. This is like a straight guy. Like, he has a wife. He's not flirting with me. He just really likes how I dress and my nails and my clothes. And he thinks I will look good with these sunglasses. Like, I must be doing something right, I guess,
That's actually kind of like the start of influencing, but like in your home base.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because like you don't even need social media for that. You literally just walked out on the street being yourself. Yeah. People just like are magnetized to you because it's different and it looks good, you're put together. Yeah. That's great. I love that.
My mom was an influencer back in the day before social media existed. Oh. She had her own little like modeling agency where she like taught her friends how to walk on heels.
Nice.
So, and it was like etiquette class, and she would like teach them how to like use the forks properly in which order, use the tea thing. She did like how do you say like exchange for publicity?
Yes.
And she got like her hair done and stuff like that, and she will promote just by word of mouth a local hairstylist, local nail artist. So I feel like it just runs in the family.
I love that. Did you end up wearing heels, and like did your mom teach you how to wear it, or did you
I started wearing heels on my own. I actually started wearing more like boots. I'm not a big heels person. I love like boots or like big like chunky
platforms.
I love platforms. I love like a good chunky platform. But like when I started like wearing like feminine pieces of shoes was when I started getting invited to like events when I was like 16, 17. When I started getting invited to these events, I was used to just showing my face on the internet. Like I only wore makeup. And then I was like, now I gotta go to these events and meet all these influencers. Like, what am I gonna do? I need to like look good. So I started just kind of like thrift shopping and wearing my grandma's stuff. I lived with my grandma on my last year of high school. I was living with her and we had like a really close relationship. She was a teacher and like she educated like some of the biggest people of my country. When we go to like the mall, people are always like, oh, maestra, how does it maestra? Teacher.
Yeah.
They're like, teacher Anita. Like, oh, I really like get so excited when they see her, and she definitely was like a huge inspiration. She was like an activist. She's still an activist. She brings like resources to people of hard access zones of my country. Every year we do like a
fundraiser.
Yeah, that's the word. For these people of difficult access communities to get them like school bags.
The necessities.
Stuff that they need, and like also like food and stuff, like everything that they like don't really have access to because of how far away from the city they are. Every year we did that. So I definitely grew up with my grandma being kind of like a change maker in the community, very like politically and socially involved in her community. I always felt kind of like I had to like fight for what I believe. She believed in the kids of these communities, and I just had to fight for what I believe in the same way she fought for them.
Your family is so cool. Oh my god. Okay, so I want to ask, how often do you have like a full face of makeup, and how often do you dress up in your day-to-day life, and how much of it is part of your identity?
Well, whenever I'm like going out, like context matters. Like if I'm going for brunch, or if I'm like going to an event where I want to like look nice, if I have the time, like depends on how I feel, like depends on the day, One day I'm like feeling like very like, oh, today I want to like serve like super femme, hyper femme. But if some days I just want to like, wear baggy pants, like a sweatshirt, and call it a day. And that's like what's the fun part about it with fashion and makeup and everything. you get to really like play with it. I always have my nails. I cannot leave a day without my nails. They're stuck to me, and whenever they grow out, I'm like, I need a new set. And I always make them as crazy and as like colorful as possible.
I love them.
Whenever my friends notice that I'm like, if I'm not wearing nails or if they're like a little too grown, they're like, is everything okay with you? Are you going through something? Like, where are the nails? Like, what happened? And then sometimes I just don't have the time because traveling and stuff, and people think like, oh, what happened? Like, where were your nails? People are really like, are you so used to me? Like, when I'm good, I have my nails like a fresh set. Everything's, together. And when I'm like sad or going through something is when you will find me like without my nails. They just uplift me, and the relationship I have with my nail artist is just like so intimate that for me it's like therapy. It just makes me feel good, and it's like no matter how hard life can get, if I have a fresh set of nails, I can deal with everything.
I love that. Do you want to talk a little bit about identity and how that kind of relates to like the whole femboy lifestyle, and if it is a lifestyle?
Yeah. For me, femboy is like my aesthetic. It's just like the look or the persona that I feel the most comfortable with. What else? I feel like a lot of people kind of misunderstand it now, especially now that I'm kind of growing out my hair just for fun. They are like, are you transitioning, or are you gonna like, do I need to call you like she, or like what are your pronouns? And I like when I get asked these questions when they come from a good place, because it means people are open to learning and they're open to like understanding.
And they want to call you the right thing.
They want to call you the right thing, and I think it's important. But also like I feel like there's just so much diversity that I think it's important to have visibility for people that are not only like what's the most common thing like trade, or like everybody knows like what a trans person is, or everybody knows I feel like it's important to like have visibility for all identities and all personalities, because even though we're all part of the community, being queer or whatever, like I think we're also different, and that's just humanity.
And that there's a fluidity to that too that I feel like most cis hetero people don't understand is like maybe you're super attracted to this, or like you are trying to figure it out and like you're experimenting with stuff and you're in an experimental stage. Some people already know who they are, and so it's like you really have to take the time to learn about that person and understand where they're coming from too, because for some people it isn't just dress up. For some people it is their identity.
The previous generation had to fight so hard to have something that was just like accepted for some of us. And I think 10 years ago, me showing up with my family wearing makeup and like going to church was unheard of. Like that was something crazy, and for me it was normal for me, but I understand that a lot of people sadly didn't have access to that. They had like rejection in their family, and that like just breaks my heart thinking about like all the kids in Latin America that like didn't get to have the mom that I had, or didn't get to have the dad that I had, or the grandma, and that's why I have always like fought so hard to like be visible. I was like, I owe it to everyone that didn't get to be themselves to just be as myself as I can. And I think it's important for everyone to just bring more acceptance, but also just like, even if people are criticizing you or like attacking you or whatever, just be yourself and, fight to get the life that you deserve. Fight to have the people that accept you and are family to you, because I've had some family members that were not necessarily the most accepting, and I just prefer to not talk about them. But I really had to like fight to find the version of the world that I always dreamed of. I moved countries. I immigrated from Panama to the US, and I have a community of people and people that my second family that accepts me and celebrates me for who I am and where I'm going to, and not only for what they think I should be. And I think that's important too. Having boundaries is important for having a healthy relationship, not only with your family but with the whole world. Like everyone deserves respect, and if you're not getting it, you should demand it. I think that's important. I think you should not accept anything less than respect.
Yeah, don't settle for trying to fit in or for people not understanding you and that's just the way the world is. Really, seriously, like I know it's hard sometimes, but that's what communities are for, that's what support groups are for, and that's what channels like mine are for, is where I can collaborate with people who feel the same way and to give them exposure and to really celebrate what it means to be, in this case, femboy.
Oh yeah, you were asking me earlier, like how did I like shift my like content from the content I used to like back then that was more like beauty oriented to kind of like what I do now. I was doing like makeup videos a lot, and I was like working with a lot of brands, until I noticed people really like had this like fixation relationship. Like so many people were like interested in it.
Like your romantic relationship?
Yeah, my real life, like my ex-girlfriend at the moment. And I was like, why do people care so much? Like they were always like asking like, where's your girlfriend? Like that's really your girlfriend? I was like, yeah, like that's my girlfriend. And they will always like keep asking me this. And I asked her if she would feel comfortable like making content together and just like, you know, posting like videos of like our life, just like brunch or whatever, just like our day-to-day life. And we just started posting more stuff like that. And people were like crazy because for Latin America, it was like really like shocking to see a guy that like wore makeup and nails and everything having like a straight relationship. They were like, what is this? Like I don't, they really didn't understand that your attraction and who you're attracted to has nothing to do with how you present yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can be a feminine guy or a masculine woman, or you can be a trans person, and that still doesn't determine who you're gonna be attracted to, because attraction is like just happens to you kind of. And who you are, like your identity, that's more of like how do you like to present yourself, or how do you feel on the inside matching the outside. Like those are two different things that are never related to each other.
Well, it's not that they're not related to each other. I feel like if the other person is accepting what your outside looks because they think it matches your inside, that's even better, right?
Yeah,
and
we should always look for a partner that accepts us for who we are. If your partner, like let's say you're thinking about transition or you're thinking about starting hormones, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I can do that. Run, it's not the right person for you. You deserve someone who loves you for who you are and how you want to be. And if someone doesn't support the way that you present, then they're just not the right person, and you deserve love in the way that you want it. Recently, I had this like experience when I went to Pride, and this guy starts like talking to me, and I'm like, oh hi, like because I'm just friendly. Like I know here in the US people don't talk to strangers so much, it's kind of more like stranger danger, but where I come from, we're very like we talk to everybody. Like where you're walking on the street, people will like be like, oh I love your nails, and I'm like thank you, like yes ma'am, like cat, like it's just like that's our culture, and it's not like catcalling, it's more kind of like just like funny and playful, and that's just
it's like, friendly.
It's friendly. Yeah. It's a friendly way of like communicating with strangers that we have. Like for example, there's these words that we say in Panama as like buenas, which is like short for buenas tardes or buenos dias. And whenever you enter to a place and there's like an elevator, you say buenas to everyone. Like buenas, buenas, buenas. Like
good day.
You always greet strangers in where I come from. So for me, it was normal this guy talking to me, but apparently he was like protesting outside of Pride. And he was like preaching.
Oh,
you know? And I didn't even notice. He was like, can I talk to you for a second? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, yeah, Jesus, like trying to like bullshit me. And I was like, what are you assuming? And he's like, that you're a homosexual. And I was like, why are you assuming that? Like I have a girlfriend. And he's like, even if you have a girlfriend, you're still homosexual because you're wearing nails. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're dressing like a woman right now. And I was like, I have a button-up. Like, this is a man's button-up. It's from the male section in Zara. You're wearing Old Navy. Since when Jesus wore Old Navy? Like, I don't know. And I personally, I really dislike when people try to use religion to like segregate people, because I was accepted in my religious experience. I know that's not everyone's like experience, but like I went to church with my family. I wore makeup to church. I did my like my first communion and my confirmation, and I also grew up with like a lot of Sikh influence from Sikhism. I grew up going to the Gurudwara and also to the Catholic Church. And my brother, he's Jewish, so I kind of had all these influences. And my family always really was like protective of me. So for me to see someone using my religion against me, it made me really uncomfortable. And I was like, so you're telling me I'm a sinner because I'm wearing nails? Like, you don't even know me. Like, you're assuming all these things that you think I do. And, you know, who are you to be like here, like taking time out of my day to be judging me based on what you believe is your interpretation of God? You know, like, but I feel like a lot of people my age should be allowed to believe in whatever religion or whatever higher power they should. And it's the older people that are trying to segregate us or discriminate us that are ruining our personal spiritual experience for everybody, you know? They make us uncomfortable at these spaces. I mean, even though I personally have my own personal beliefs spiritually, I think no one should be able to take that away from me, because that's my heritage, and for me that's part of my culture and part of where I come from. And I'm proud of being a multicultural queer man, and that's a big part of who I am. And I won't let any guy on the street, just because they're trying to be hateful or they think pride is wrong or whatever, or that wearing nails is stupid or that's a sin, you know, like I won't let them take away my religious experience from me. So yeah.
Nice. All right, everyone, and that is all we have for today. I'm going to divide this video into two because I want this Get Ready With Me to stand alone as its own. It's a very powerful statement by an actual femboy, and so I'm going to leave that as is. And also, it's just a really fun video to actually watch the process of Alex getting ready. I'm going to link all of his links in the description box below. I'm going to have Femboy Republic's website linked so that you can take a sneak peek at what items are offered there. And I will see you next week for the actual try-on haul and the reveal of Femboy Republic goods. All right, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you know when I have new content out. I post new videos and live stream every Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I also have social media at Mara Domina for daily news and updates, so go check that out. And until next time, keep it kinky, everyone. Happy Pride.